This weekend on Saturday was the White House Correspondents' dinner. And this used to be just this little affair where the president and some of the media would get together and they'd rib each other. It has become like a bonkers bonanza, red carpet literally covered by the E! Network. We had celebrities like Psy, Katy Perry, Duck Dynasty. I think both Donald and Daffy were there. Yes, I was there. And it's just become this completely over-the-top big spectacle, and there's been a little blowback against it because people are saying, should politics and media and Hollywood be so intertwined? Do you guys think that there's a danger in having all our media so tight, and should the president always feel like a celebrity? Cenk, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, so there's a huge danger. I've been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I've been to the parties, the brunches, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm not trying to be a stickler here and say we shouldn't have it, but it should be the exception, it shouldn't be the rule. Like, it should be the one night when the watchdogs of the government says, hey, you know what, let's go grab a burger together, let's stop being so mean to the government and trying to find out what they're doing and exposing it and telling the American people, et cetera. Let's just have a pleasant dinner together. If that was the exception to how they normally operate, great. But it's the rule. It's 365 days. They're constantly having cocktails together, et cetera, and they're conspiring unwittingly, in a sense, against us. Because what they're supposed to deliver us is the truth, is the news, is the facts, right? But instead, what they're delivering us is, what the government wants us to hear, because they sold out for access so they can go to the nerd prom.
Yes. So, all right. So you come from the world of entertainment, and I see this in a smaller way. I think what happens in LA and in Hollywood is the same exact thing. You're never going to fight against the power if you have an artistic dream, let's say, to do something great and different. You're never going to fight against the power if they're inviting you to parties all the time, because you want to be liked too. Do you see that as like a major problem when it comes to politics and even just in Hollywood in itself?
Well, I mean, we know that the media they report only what they're told to report anyway. So, why not have a big party together? I think it's important to get to know the president on a social level. It's just times have changed. Now that we are so interested in Duck Dynasty and Honey Boo Boo.
What is Duck Dynasty? What is it? I literally don't know.
I don't
what
know
is everyone's Duck
It's
Dynasty?
the #1 show right now.
What is it?
It's these guys that make these duck calls. They're just backwoods, down home guys. And 100.
So it's not actually Daffy and Donald. I really thought that it had something to do with Donald Duck. I swear I thought.
No,
that.
but it's a show that I guess Middle America and Southerners can really relate to.
I like how your Southern roots came out.
Oh yeah,
there.
you hear that coming out right
Yeah.
now. It's 100% scripted. If you watch the show, it's scripted. But
But
most
should
people don't know
Duck
that.
Dynasty be sitting at the White House Correspondents'
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Just in recent years, as reality stars, the A-listers these days, we want to get to know them. We want to know their personal lives, and that's what I think people are wanting to do with the president now. We want to know him, and I think it's great that we want to know the president that well through his Twitter accounts and all that type of stuff. I want to know what he's thinking every single day. I don't want to wait to watch CNN or whatever to figure out what he's doing today. I want to follow him 24/7 if I want to keep him in check. And I think it's important that the public gets that connection with the president.
All right. Well, actually, speaking of getting to know the president, let's listen in a little bit to what the president said at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I think you might get to know him a little bit better.
But the problem is that the media landscape is changing so rapidly. You can't keep up with it. I remember when BuzzFeed was just something I did in college around 2 a.m. It's true.
Okay, so the line there is, it's true.
And this is what I love about this, because back in the Clinton days where I didn't inhale, look how far we've come with that. We all know you're lying to us. Every single president has done probably every major drug out there and way more, probably slept with guys, all that kind of stuff. For
everyone.
Nixon
just
definitely slept with dudes.
The stuff that,
Probably the most likely.
Yeah.
Now, when you have someone that's just honestly being like, yeah, okay, I obviously smoked weed in college, okay, great. Then we know we're not lied to. At least we know, okay, they're not trying to put up this crazy front.
Right, so I'm with you on that. The part that I have a problem with about this particular clip is that he's talking about weed, obviously. We've all smoked some weed. I have terrible shoulder pain and glaucoma. But he is also using the federal government right now that has been attacking here in California. They've been trying to close pot dispensaries, and they're putting people in jail still for smoking weed. There are people literally serving 20, 30-year sentences, not for selling weed, for smoking weed. Right. So is there a little bit of hypocrisy in what the president, in the game that he's playing?
No, there's a giant bit of hypocrisy, and it relates to the joke, and it actually relates to what Lance was saying earlier as well. So, look, I don't want to be a party pooper and analyze every joke and like you should, et cetera.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not funny when we have millions of people in jail for the same exact thing that Barack Obama and George W. Bush have done, have admitted to doing. So unless you're going to put those two guys in prison, let the other guys go, you know? And so by the nature of this dinner, they have to joke around about actual policy, and everybody hated it when Bush said, "Oh, where are the weapons of mass destruction? Are they here? Are they there?" And that's a really important and serious topic. But so is what people characterize as the new Jim Crow. You know, imprisoning so disproportionately so many African Americans. You've got an African American president; he gets to joke around about it, but he never paid the consequences. And like you said, he's breaking a record in number of raids against drug dispensaries, which he said he wouldn't do, and that's outrageous.
Right. All right. So is it ultimately, at the end of the day, is this a net gain or a net loss that we now learn about our politicians through celebrity? That they have to bring these people in? Is this net gain? Because the average person is now learning something about politics, so that's pretty good. And then on the other hand, they seem to be blurring this line between truth and...
Well, I mean, I personally think that the more that we can get this especially younger generation, more interested in politics, the better. If it's using social media and making him a reality star, great. People like us that follow politics and all that type of stuff, we know what's going on. We get educated about it. But these other people that are only watching Honey Boo Boo, that don't give a crap about politics, this is a way that you can actually like the president and like what he's doing maybe and figure out what he's doing.
And related to Duck Dynasty, apparently.
Yeah, well, look, my only concern about that is that they're not getting an accurate picture. I mean, all this, so like including his Twitter account, et cetera, is heavily managed, right? So they're putting out a version of Barack Obama that isn't necessarily obviously the real Obama. It's a version of it, right? And so if that's the only image that people have of him, they're not getting a true read. Because if they see that joke, they think, oh, he's cool. He's cool, he smoked weed. But they don't know that he's not that cool in imprisoning millions of people just for smoking weed.
Right, so perhaps if when Conan O'Brien went on after and had said, well, President Obama, you know, you have jailed a lot of people about weed, it would have got like this tepid laugh, but a little truth would have been in there. Instead, Conan was sort of making fun of Mitt Romney, which is just so easy at this point.
Yeah, but that's why Stephen Colbert had the greatest White House Correspondents' Dinner routine in history. It could never be topped. I mean, that's where he famously said, you know, reality has a well-known liberal bias. And the room, if you remember it, the room hated him.
Yeah.
Because he went after the government, he went after the media, and often it was like total dead silence. But it was fantastic.
Yeah, which is why I always tell you guys, if you want truth in news, don't go to MSNBC or Fox or CNN. Young Turks and Comedy Central.
That's right.
Okay. I want to remind you guys that the official outfitter of the Rubin Report is Bonobos. Go to bonobos.com, use code TRR20, and get yourself this fancy shirt.